Dear Derry, welcome to TMI Tuesday. And you know what that means. It's time for another story that I would not normally tell on, some other day. A lot of people, by that I mean two, have been kind of poking, wanting to know about the other night with Paul. I can tell you that one. Not yet. I will tell you eventually, but not right now. Instead, I'm debating whether to tell you about my first boyfriend, the first night that we did anything, which was kind of fun. Well, of course it was fun. Well, it was kind of fun. Parts of it were not, they were enjoyable. So I'm debating that, or, it is so difficult to pick which one, or do I just tell you individual TMI factors? You know what? I've already screwed this up. I have already screwed this up. Because I had very specifically planned, because I had written it down in my notes, that I was going to start this off as though I were not aware that I was recording. And I was going to say, as though I were talking to someone off camera or something, I was going to say, but what, do you want to have a go now? Because this is the sort of situation when you would follow suit with the phone. I was going to kind of be looking off camera as though I weren't recording and then realize that I was. But I was going to say, between the diarrhea and the blood loss, he was extremely dehydrated. Oh my God, hi, sorry, I didn't see you there. Dear Derry. But as I said, I've already screwed it up. So I don't know why that just, when I woke up this morning, that was the line that was going through my head. And I don't know if it's from a story I haven't written yet. That's the sort of thing that happens. I get a line that lodges into my brain, and a story evolves from around that. And I don't know what the hell. As soon as I realized that sentence had gone through my brain, I was like, oh, TMI. Oh, wait, it's Tuesday. That's perfect. Maybe that's how I'll start the thing. But I've screwed it up. So let me instead say awesome news that I discovered today while trying to lock my iPad into its propped up configuration, that I am right at about 260 subscribers, kick-ass, and 17,000 views. Very cool. Very, very cool. I'm very happy with that. All we got to do now is get that up to about 4 million. Not the views. Getting the views up to 4 million, no problem. Getting the subscribers up to 4 million, that'll take a bit longer. I can't help but wonder, where would I be right now as far as with YouTube if I had started doing this kind of thing or more with my YouTube channel when I first created it? Because if I remember correctly, I created it in like May or July or one of those months, kind of mid 2006. I would have 6 years of development on YouTube under my belt right now. Damn it! Did I miss the train on that or what? Miss the train? Miss the bus? Miss the boat? Miss the boat? Some piece of mass transit that I missed thing. Let's see. Oh, that was pretty good, but it's nah. Damn it, train, don't do that. Say, oh, that was really funny. I'm not going to tell you guys about it though. It was something I saw on Twitter about Um, I don't know if this story actually happened or not, but it was really awesome. It was like these people were standing in line at a supermarket or something, and this guy's getting more and more pissed off at this woman talking some foreign language on her cell phone behind him. And when she gets off the phone, he's like, "Look, you want to speak Mexican? You go back to Mexico." And she looked at him and she said, "Sir, I was speaking Navajo. If you want to speak English, go back to England. I am screwing everything up tonight." Oh my God. Okay. Right. So I was like, oh shit. If I had been there and heard that, I would not have been. Ordinarily, when something like that goes on, I try to kind of pull myself in and just say, let it go. Just let them deal with their problems. It's like Indiana Jones said in Raiders of the Lost Ark, these Arabs don't care if we kill each other. Not going to interfere in our business. I try to just kind of, okay, it's between them. Just let them deal with their thing. If I had been present for that, "Sir, I was speaking Navajo. If you want to speak English, go back to England," I would not have been able to resist the urge to laugh. I mean, oh my God. I would have been like, that is awesome. Oh my God. And I am so sorry for what my people did to you. But that's really cool. Don't know if it happened or not, but my God, that's funny. The other thing that I have here, I think is for Elder Scrolls Online. I want somebody to rewrite Frosty the Snowman as a Daedric prince. And I don't remember how or why, but I know that I wanted someone. I think I wanted to do it, but now I don't remember the lyrics that I had in mind. So maybe I think I was rushing off to the restroom when I was ready. I was like, oh, wait, because I needed to get it down. Because it's like I woke up in the middle of the night to go take a piss, and it just kind of came to me. I was like, what if Frosty the Snowman were a Daedric prince? How would that change the thing? And I mean, the kids, they built him out of snow, and then they kind of conjured him or animated him with this magic hat. It's like they're into Daedra worship. This whole situation is just spiraling downhill very quickly. So yeah, I'm also kind of eager for Elder Scrolls Online, especially now that we have release dates. April cannot come soon enough. Whoever that bitch is. April, as in the reporter from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, she's got, 4 turtles that all kind of have the hots for her. I think that one turtle, whichever one, the one that's green, that has the weapons that he uses. Anyway, he seems more enamored with her than the others, but they all bone her. They have to. They have to, which is okay. Got to come up with a TMI story for you. I had several queued up in my brain before I started recording. Of course, the one with Paul was chief among them. But, okay. From the bar that night. Well, not that night, but the same bar that I went to that night, Hamburger Mary's. One night, basically my unit was going to, I think we were going to JRTC in Arkansas. And so everybody had left. They'd all flown off to Arkansas, except me, because I had been attached to another battalion temporarily who was going back up to the Pohakaloa training area, which I have mentioned before. That's on the saddle between Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea at 12,000 feet up. I had just been there for, 30 days. So I was already acclimated to the altitude. So when the battalion across the quad from us said, hey, can we borrow some medics? I was like, I'll go. I don't have to reacclimate. I'm fine. And so, off I went. So I had just come back from that exercise. And my company commander said, look, everybody else is already shipped over to Arkansas to go do this exercise thing. You take a week, clean up all your gear, get repacked. You'll come out with the last flight. I said, okay, fine, no problem. So, the husband and wife that I lived with in an apartment off base, Um, he was another medic in my same platoon, and all the medics were flying off. So we decided to go to the uh, airport to see them off. And so we're standing there and we're waving as they're heading down the jetway. And it's like, it's okay. And they're, the wives are like, bye, bye, we'll miss you. I said, I'll see you guys in a week. And we went, as soon as they disappeared around the corner, down the jetway towards the plane, I just kind of went, girls' night out. And they were both like, yes. And so we took off. We went back home. We all got dressed. And we went out to Hamburger Mary's. Now, Midian, she was this absolutely just hauntingly beautiful Puerto Rican lady, lived next door. The wife of one of the other medics in the thing. She got baked out of her skull before we left. I did not know this. So she's driving, and we're heading down into Honolulu, and there's this place called Fort DeRussy, at least there was at the time. It's basically a parking lot in the middle of Honolulu that is designed for military personnel to have a place to park because, otherwise good luck finding parking. Fort DeRussy is strictly for military personnel, and, they're just the only ones who can park there. Well, we had done like 2 or 3 laps and it was packed. There were no parking spaces available. So we're pulling out. We're on one of the main streets that runs alongside it. And I said, why don't we just park at the post office back there? I mean, it's after hours. Nobody's going to be using it. So Midian pulls out of our lane into the lane of oncoming traffic and is nose to nose with a car that was driving the correct way down the street. And she just shifts in reverse and starts driving backwards. So we're driving like this, and I'm kind of peering, and I was like, that's a cop car, and so she backs into the parking lot of the post office, and the cop car just kind of goes by with this kind of, what the fuck are you doing? Kind of, I'm like, because I'm in the back seat going, nah. And he just drives on. I was like, God damn it, woman. And so we pull, and I said, okay, well, look, we can't park here, obviously, because that little bit of shenanigans there he's going to be back, and he's going to be looking for this car. So we go back through Fort DeRussy one more time, and we find a spot, and we park. We get out of the car. This is like 5 minutes later. We get out of the car. We're walking through the parking lot, and Minnie goes, oh, my God, there was that cop back there. And I'm like, yes, Midian, it was a cop. She's like, I'm so stunned. I didn't even realize it. You are what? I was like, oh, God, no. Oh, Jesus. God, woman. So we get to the bar, and Midian will not leave my side. She is terrified of gays. She shouldn't have a problem with me. But, what? And so a friend of mine, Gavin, also Puerto Rican, tiny little guy, really, really hot. Nice. Very, very tight, like a tiger. He comes over, and he's a little bit flamey, just a touch. And he comes over and is saying hi, and I'm like, hey, Gavin, this is Chris, and this is Midian. And he turns to me and he goes, Midian, España? And she's like, Puerto Rico, and it's bang, and they instantly bang. It's just now. Chris and I cannot understand a word they're saying. This is just all Spanish all the time. And I was like, can you understand what they're saying? She's like, nope. I said, nah, fuck it, let him go. And so I turned to say something to Chris. And when I turned back, Midian's gone. And so is Gavin. I'm like, shit. And I look at Chris, and she's like, where'd they go? I'm like, I don't know. And so we look all over the bar. We can't find them. Apparently, the one place we didn't look was the one place we should have looked, which was the dance floor. Because eventually I did find them, and they were both out there, and they had a crowd gathered around them, watching the two of them tear that shit up for a dozen songs. And they were just go. And so Chris and I are sitting at the table. We're just, having a few drinks and whatnot. And Midian comes back, and she just sits down. She's completely winded, and she just sits down, and she's just like blissed out of her mind. And she's like, that man Gavin can really dance. I'm like, yes, he's very, very fit. And she's like, oh, you didn't. I was like, oh, yes, repeatedly. And she's like, no. I'm like, well, yeah. Well, I brought you to a gay bar. I introduced you to a gay man. Yes, I've had him a time or two. That's why he came over to say hello. And I turned to Chris and I was like, did we not make it clear that we were going to a gay bar? Does it not make sense that any guys who come up and talk to me very likely are guys that I know or what? And I turned back and she's gone. And they're back out on the dance floor for another 20 minutes or so. And so they come back eventually. And Gavin is like saying, so we're having a picnic on Queens Beach tomorrow. And I'm like, of course you are. Okay. Oh my God, no, this cannot be happening. But why do they have to call it that? I don't. Was it called that before we decided to have, a barbecue out there? And they're like, yes, that's always what it's been called. I'm just checking. I didn't know. Maybe we had some kind of a petition so that we could have our own beach. I don't know. Just stop. Anyway, so they said, we'll pick you up in the morning. Okay, fine. This is because we got to drive right past your apartment anyway. Okay. So the next morning we get up and we're dressed and we're heading out. We drive up to the beach, and there's a guy who's manning the grill. And every time I come by, he grabs one of the wieners off the hot dogs off the grill. He's like, "Would you like a taste of my wiener?" I'm like, "No," and I walk past. Because I was just getting some serious creeper vibe off this guy. It's not what we called it back then, but, it's what it was. And come back by, he's like, want some of my meat in your mouth? I'm like, no. And eventually, after about the 12th time of this, there was almost nothing. There was like a drumstick and like two, frankfurters sitting on the thing. And he's like, sure you don't want my meat between your buns? And I said, actually, I think I would like something to eat. And I just reached down and grabbed the drumstick off the grill. No tongs or anything. I just grabbed it and I just gloved the whole damn thing. Just shoved it in my mouth. Just pulled the whole thing off and just chewed and swallowed all the meat. And he was like, wow, that's really... And then I just bit the drumstick bone in half and started chewing it up as I was walking off. And I ate the entire bone. So I ate the entire drumstick, bone and all. And he got a little bit kind of at that point. And that took care of the problem. I didn't have to deal with him, saying, making any kind of advances after that because he was a little bit weirded out by that. It was worth the stomach cramps I suffered later on, honestly. And here we are, 18 minutes. And that's most of that story. But yeah, there was something about Gavin running up and down the beach reenacting Madonna's Cherish video. Don't remember too much about that though. I think there was also some woman riding a horse down the beach. I mean, she was in the water, like up to the horse's belly. It wasn't quite deep enough to swim, but he was just walking along. Something about that too, but I don't really remember it too clearly because the next night really was not a good night at all. Not at all. It's a very, very bad night where I think every woman in the apartment complex decided that they wanted to have sex with me, and I was not having that at all. No, no, no. No. Oh, Lordy. Okay. Oh, not a good scene. Sorry. Blah. Need to stop thinking about it too. This is just. I have not been that angry in a long time. There is something about a fellow soldier's wife coming over to your house, well, to your apartment, already drunk, bringing a ton of booze with her, and in her drunken state, convinced that her husband has left her because she is so horrible. And no amount of, no, honey, he doesn't hate you. He's off on a field training exercise with the entire rest of the battalion. He's not gone because he hates you. He's gone because he's deployed on a field training exercise. But of course that doesn't sink in, and it just gets worse and worse and worse the more drunk she gets, to the point that she starts trying to call people on the cordless phone, rips out the antenna because she can't figure out how to extend the antenna on the thing, and just eventually we just take the battery out of the phone, because just, if it were not 11 o'clock at night right now, I would tell you exactly what she sounded like when she, well, okay, I'll give it to you, a soft version of it. She got to a point where anytime she would ask anything, whether it was a question or not, because even if it wasn't a question, it would still end with the word right, but it was sort of like this. But about 10 times that loud. And I'm looking at the waveform on recording, and it's just a big box. Okay, so that's a little loud for the thing. And so imagine that 10 times louder than that. And there came a point where, okay, maybe I will tell you about a little bit of it. There was a point where Chris, she was trying to distract herself from the fact that this was going on. And she was polishing her husband's boots. So she had melted a can of Kiwi boot polish and was polishing his boots because it gave her something to force, to apply some force onto, and just, kind of get some aggression out. I had tried to get this woman into the bedroom, not for that reason, holy shit, no, just to get her to lay down so she would just pass the fuck out and leave us alone. Didn't work that well, because she came crawling back out and was climbing up the door frame and screaming whatever she was screaming. It wasn't, and none of it was, well, you heard what it was like. And then she lost her balance and fell forward, landing on the coffee table and shattering the coaster caddy that held all the coasters that Chris's children had made for her by hand. Shattered it. And then, at the same time, knocked this melted can of black Kiwi boot polish onto the couch that they had just got. So this murderous kind of look just erupts from Chris at all sides, and she's like, "Get that bitch out of my house." And I'm like, "Oh, she is so gone." And I grabbed her and I threw her into her car, the visiting woman, into the passenger seat of her car, and I drove her back on post to her house, and took her into her house and just threw her down in the recliner and was like, "Sleep!" And I left her there. Drove back to my apartment, and Midian had come down from her apartment, which was upstairs behind us, and they were commiserating and laughing because Midian had been on her way down, but had seen through the window that this woman was there, and the state she was in. It was like, nope. And she turned around and went back upstairs to her apartment and waited for this person to leave. So as soon as I get back, Midian is like, I'm like, shut up. So I went and I'm like, I'm gonna go take a shower right now. I'm done with this. And that was like, this is the end of my night. I'm just gonna take a shower and I'm gonna go to sleep. Fuck this noise. 24 minutes. 24 and a half. All right, that's what you get. Maybe next week. Next week, that'll be Christmas Eve, won't it? No promises about Christmas Eve. We'll see. I mean, I'm supposed to be dog sitting all next week, so I'll probably have my rig over at the other house. Maybe I might leave it here. I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, I will talk to you folks later on. And until next time, be careless.